Hey there, happy Monday morning. It's November 1st, 2021. We are now into the final 2 months of 2021. I would venture to say that many of us are going to be happy to see this year go by. Let's get back to what we might consider a more normal year. So let's jump right in this week. First thing you're going to notice here, last week has been kind of an off week, I would say. Pretty not this first three graphics down here in the lower left-hand corner kind of tells the story. Homes for sale down 4, so really no movement in our inventory. Days on the market, we're still at 8 days on the market and 1.7 months of inventory. That's exactly where we were this time last week. Even homes under contract, we're pretty much even. We're not really falling. We're not really gaining. I mean, we lost 81 compared to last week, but um, it's still pretty close. So the big news is we're closing right along here with sales at 14,521. That's up 375 from last week. Of course, it's the end of the month, so that's to be expected, but we're well on our way to hitting 15,000 sales. More about that in a minute here. So let's jump right in. This week's top story. Notice something happened about Monday or Tuesday of this week. I started to see new construction inventory of single family homes start to build. And, just to give you an idea, this last week we added 333, not last week, this last month, we added 333 new construction homes into the inventory. That's all during the month of October. And you can see down here in the lower left-hand corner, the lowest count we had at one time back at the first of the month was about 787. And we had been kind of on a downhill slide there. But throughout the month, we started to build, steadily anyway. But this last week, week 43, the first of last week, we really started to see a surge here. And we're currently sitting at 861 new construction homes on the market. And that's predominantly due to 3 of the builders out there. Hubble Homes by far added 57 homes to the inventory. D.R. Horton 48 and Destiny brought on 41. The next closest builder, I think, was maybe Genesis. I think they only added like 9 or 10 or 11, something like that. So, but of that 333 last month, these are the ones that have really stepped up this past week here. So that's where this inventory is coming from. If you kind of get an idea of what this surge looks like over time, this is the year to date. The green bar there is the year to date listing activity, the number of homes on the market. And there we are at 861. At the lowest point this last year, back in late May, we were at 637 homes on the market. And so, it's we've seen a little bit of an increase. In fact, you can see from about just before September right here, we actually crossed over and started having more inventory in the new construction field than we had all of, over the same time a year ago. So that blue line is last year's inventories. So we're doing pretty good in the new construction level. It's certainly helping our inventory. And we'll kind of take a peek at what that means for the market here as we kind of get into the rest of the show here. So week in review, again, the numbers are pretty low this week. It's just kind of been an off week. I don't know if it's because of the amount of rain we had, the cold weather, but the month of October in general has been pretty good. But boy, this last week, we got quite a bit of rain. I think 4 or 5 inches maybe in some spots there. So we added 249 homes to the listing inventory. That's down a little bit. But here's a kind of a big story here is price reductions. Just almost 10% of our homes that are currently on the market actually had a price reduction this past week, 208. So that's a pretty good number of price reductions. And compared to last year, we're pretty much right on track. I think as we get closer to the first of every month, a lot of home sellers and a lot of realtors sit back and go, okay, we need to get this home sold. So what can we do? We can, address things like pricing or condition, and pricing is an easy one to deal with there. So that's kind of what's happening in the market overall. You can see again here, we did miss the mark this week compared to last year on the new listings. We only had 249 new homes come on the market this past week. And again, buckets of rain probably had something to do with that compared to almost 300 last year at this time. I'm hoping that we continue this path of beating last year's numbers. But boy, if it's anything like this week, it's going to be tough here. So spotlight this week. We're going to talk about the end of October recap. Goodbye, October. Let's jump right in with a familiar graphic. This is the inverted market. And basically, you can see here's where that activity hit in September. We were outpacing sale pendings from a year ago in September, and then we got into October, and it just kind of mimicked last year. Not that last year was bad. Last year's been very, very busy, and we're just still kind of keeping that up. It's just you can kind of see here that there's that last week that kind of tailed off. What's kind of a little bit alarming is the fact that our overall inventory, now remember, we're getting inventory from new construction, but our overall inventory isn't growing like I would hope it to here. It's kind of leveled off and maybe looking like it might try to edge back up again here, but we'll see. Activity through the month here, the new listings at 854 versus 1,376. It was, I think back in May, I think we had 600 new listings came on the market, and we had about 1,800 homes under contract during that month. So it's, to be over 50% more, 50% of our pending sale inventory is matched up to new listings coming on the market. That's pretty good. I mean, we want to see this new listing count increase, but we also don't want to see this number go down as much as as we can here. But back in May, we were 3 times the homes in pending that we had coming on the market, and that was really doing the heaviest part of the activity. Closed almost 1,500 sales this month, which again, that's kind of a goal of ours. Just trying to keep all this inventory on the market here. That's pretty good. We'll talk in a minute about closed sales goal at the end of the year, and we'll see if we're going to actually hit our goal here. Homes for sale by price range. This one's starting to look a little bit better. Again, our meat of our market is between that 100 and I would say between the $100,000 and $400,000 price point. We are seeing more inventory starting to build in that $300,000 to $400,000 price point, and the gap is starting to narrow a little bit in this $200,000 to $300,000 price point. 100 to 200 is just always going to be tight because that's really your entry level. Anything under 200 is our entry level inventory, and those get snapped up pretty much as quickly as they come on the market. The sale pendings, how these look. Now, again, both these graphics are looking at previous years. So the orange in this case is 2020 and the purple is 2021. And you can see that we're really doing pretty good to match up with last year's sales. And that's kind of indicative to the inverted market that you saw, where we were kind of matching up our sale pendings to last year. So this kind of shows that same trend. It's the $300,000 to $400,000 price point. Actually, we have more homes under contract this time of year than we did last year. Maybe that's again because some of that new construction, I would think here. Days on market again as well, just to give you an idea. This was looking at our days on market, which is the red line across the bottom. We're currently at 8 days on market, median days, and last year we were up around 11, 12, somewhere in there. And then it's peaked. We got a little bit of a surge again, it looks like, in the month of November. I'm hoping we have that again until we get to the end of the month or end of the year, where we really kind of just slow down that last couple of weeks there. But we're still well below 2019, where, 2 years ago at this time, we had almost 20 days on market, which is almost unheard of in this current economy that we're currently sitting in here. So we saw this kind of graphic earlier in the new construction. I just thought I'd bring it back up. This is all homes for sale year over year. The blue line again is 2020. The green section, the area below, is 2021. The bottom red line brings you across to our record low, which we hit at 1,643 back in May. The red line at the top is where we were at our highest at the start of the year. And you can kind of see we're just barely bubbling. We spent about maybe 4 or 5 days or 6 days above 2,300 there for a while, and that's kind of in this section right here. Um, we need to really bump our inventory. I'd sure love to see more homes on the market than, would love to see us hit 2,500, but I don't think that's going to be in the cards the way things are going. But if we could at least get into 2,300, maybe 2,400 homes on the market, that would set the stage for the January, February, March market just really, really well here. So let's keep, encouraging sellers out there to put their homes on the market because buyers are still buying. And here's that same graphic for single family resale homes only. And again, the bottom red line is a record low, 515 back in April-ish there. And then the red line is where we started the year at, just under 1,000. And we're above that now. Now, granted, it's not very many above that, but it's certainly nice to see that the single family resale is starting to really kind of come back, although it's showing a little bit of a tendency there to maybe start to go on a downward trail again, just like it would have last year. So let's see if we can get that one to cross over 2020. 3 more slides and we're done. This is the end of October active inventory counts by price range through the metro. And the thing you want to look at here is number one, Ankeny has 318 homes currently on the market as of yesterday on Sunday. Number 2 was West Des Moines, followed by Waukee, followed by Urbandale. So those are top 4 communities with inventory, but you're not seeing a lot of zeros in, indicating that there's no inventory in those categories. They're pretty well diverse. They've got inventory all the way across the board, except for that very, very low, under $100,000 price point. Let's flip the page and look at metro pending inventory. And again, number 1 is Ankeny, 2 is West Des Moines, 3 is Waukee. But now number 4 is the Des Moines Northwest area, or the suburbs of Des Moines up there. That's north of University, up by to Merle Hay Road, a little bit, just a little bit off of Merle Hay Road, up north to Urbandale. I think it's Aurora, I think is our border to the north, and the Des Moines River to the east. And what's most impressive is the fact that we're number 4 in the Des Moines Northwest area for sale pendings. Number 1, look at this count right here, 126 sales currently in sale pending status under $200,000. So that's really impressive to see that kind of number. In fact, just scanning here, Ankeny has 144 in the 400 to 300. I don't think, unless I'm missing something, that there's any other area. Well, there's 106 in the 2 to 300, but triple digits. That's pretty darn good. And what makes it even more impressive is the fact that these sales are all under $500,000. You see, there's not a single home under contract in the Des Moines Northwest area of the city above $500,000. So coming in 4th place in that area, that just tells a story right there that the first-time home buyers and the move-up buyers, that are looking in that entry level to maybe the start of the move-up buyer market, are really, really there waiting for inventory, and that's getting snapped up as quickly as possible. All right, last slide. This is a replay kind of my, I did a couple weeks ago, I did a quarterly update. It must have been, well, it's been a month ago. And I predicted 18,000 closed sales for 2021. We got about 3,500 to go, less than 3,500 to go, because here we sit through October 31st. We're sitting at 14,521. And, if I do my simple math, it's going to be tight. It's going to be close. We're averaging about 375 closed sales per week. Now, of course, those kind of are heavily weighted toward the end of the month when most of the closings seem to happen. But on average, we're closing 375 a week, and we've got 8 weeks left. So 375 times 8, we've got about 3,000 sales we could realistically just almost rely on. That means we need about 500 more. We need 3,500, or just slightly less than 3,500 closed sales to hit that 18,000. I got a sneaky suspicion that we're still going to have a very, very busy November, at least the first couple of weeks. And I think there's a lot of homes that are set to close either at the end of October that we just ended that just aren't recorded yet, or are set to close here in the first couple of weeks of November, because I think a lot of people were writing offers thinking that let's get them moved in before the holidays. So if we're going to make it to 18,000, it's going to be probably discovered within the next 2 or 3 weeks if we're going to do that, because as we get closer to the end of the year is when it gets kind of hard to hit that. So, all right. Next week, I'm going to try to answer the question, are homes still selling at or above list price? I just got back from a conference in Las Vegas. I will tell you that Las Vegas is back. There's a lot of people out there, so I used the all-in here graphic. No, that wasn't my hand. But I'm going to try to answer that question next week. Are homes still selling at or above list price? And I'll revisit maybe a couple of graphics that we saw last week. In the meantime, be sure and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Makes the channel more visible and appreciated as well. It's great support. So hopefully, if you haven't subscribed yet, that you will. And you can also ring that bell, and that'll alert you when any new videos come out, because sometimes I record these on Sunday nights and they hit the streets before Monday morning. So if you subscribe and you hit that bell, you get that notification.